Today we got to play Saint Petersburg. This is a tableau building
Set
collection, income,
drafting.
yeah, a bunch of fun stuff. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because you want to hear more about some amazing board games, or not so amazing, like the other day. But I don't.
Randy's doing the
stats. It's like freaking me out because Robin's here, and now
Rob just got here.
Literally,
and doesn't know how to read.
Literally, we're holding up
good handwriting. All right.
No one can read that mess.
I wish I can.
You're the only one.
All right. This game, Saint Petersburg by Rio Grande Games and Hans Imglück. It was released in 2004, has a 7.3 rating on Board Game Geek currently, and is ranked currently at 318 on Board Game Geek. 2 to 4 player game, 45 to 60 minutes is the average time. I think it was on the higher end for us, but it was a learning game. Age 10 and up, which is probably about right. Designed by Bernd Brunhofer. An artist was Doris Matthaus. As you mentioned, it was a card drafting set collection and an income game.
Okay.
Did you look up MSRP or any of that?
I did not. I think it may be out of print right now.
The first edition's out of print. They
Okay.
reprinted it, and I think that one's a little bit easier, but the artwork is completely different in the second edition. I do not prefer the second edition.
Oh, really?
First edition's much better.
Okay, well, this is, I think, the first edition, right?
Yeah, this one's the one that has Phil Collins in it.
Yeah.
It's one of the cards that looks like Phil Collins.
Yep.
Okay. So let's talk about quality of pieces. So we've gotten, I don't even know what shape this is, guys.
It's a meeple.
It's keyhole shaped. Very flat keyhole.
It's a meeple.
How is this a meeple? It's like
it's the head with the froth.
It's the bust.
It's the head with the froth.
It's a bustle.
okay. So weird meeples, and then we've got the I guess tiles that tell you who goes
player.
first.
Well, they're basically first player, but they have one per
Right.
round.
Yeah.
Based off of which deck you're drafting from.
Now the cards themselves, there is a linen finish.
They're warping really badly, though. I need to sleeve them.
Yeah,
because,
this game should be sleeved.
Yeah. So the money is.
it's awful. It's paper money.
I mean, it's just your Monopoly money, guys.
Yeah.
I
We replaced it
do
with
like
our
the
tokens.
art and stuff on it. They just need to be. It looks like a little dollar.
Yeah, it's standard paper money. So.
And it's got the same picture. Like this guy is like president for life because
He's a popular guy.
every one of the cards has the same
Hey.
picture.
Don't judge him.
Yeah.
You don't know him. He could be like the best ruler ever.
Yeah, he's a tyrant.
You don't know his life. All right. So
Who's his
overall quality of pieces, I'm at like a 5.5. I mean, this isn't any better or worse than Catan.
I'd say a 5. It's I wouldn't even say 5.5. I'd say it's 5.
5, yeah. What are you?
I'm probably about 5.5 just because it has a board and it has wooden shaped pieces for the turn markers.
All right, so moving on to theme. I don't. Okay, obviously had to do with St. Petersburg because the name.
Historical background and goal. In 1703, Tsar Peter the Great founded St. Petersburg.
Told you he was great.
Yeah, but he was also a tyrant. A czar. He was a leader for, undisputed. There's no voting him into office, right?
Well, that's not the definition of a tyrant.
I thought pretty much that was the definition of a
No,
tyrant.
it's not.
A dictator.
Okay, dictator. Yes, okay, dictator. Either way.
Yeah.
All right. He founded St. Petersburg, which soon became known as Paris of the East, the Winter Palace, the Hermitage, the Church of Resurrection of Jesus Christ, and many other buildings, even today, beckon visitors from all over the world. But St. Petersburg was only a part of his numerous activities. Peter reformed the whole of the Russian Empire and brought it from the Middle Ages to a par with Europe at the time. To accomplish this, he needed a new administration and brought the aristocrats under his control. This was also a golden time for the workers, as their skills were much needed to reform and build the new Russia. The players will take important roles in the building of St. Petersburg.
Okay, see?
So, yep, it's a historical piece.
Yeah. It's there, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pasted on theme for sure. I mean, it's.
It's.
I mean, there's very few cards that are specific to the theme. I mean,
Well,
you got a czar.
I got
and you
Catherine
got-
the Great's palace.
Some of the orange cards are
Right.
very named, and the buildings are named, so that adds a little bit to the theme.
Yeah,
But the mechanics are. It's a unique game in that regard. But does it scream Saint Petersburg?
no,
No.
I don't think even the art is.
Oh no, I like the art.
I mean, the art's okay. It's a particular style.
Yeah, and I like that.
I'm not sure it's.
So I think the art's pretty nice in my opinion. So
Okay. Then score it, guys.
I'll give it a 7.
What about you?
It feels more layered on to me. I think I'm at a 6 at the best.
I'm at 6 as well. I think for me, it's just that when I was playing it, I had no idea what the theme is. I didn't even know the name of the game, so I didn't even have.
Wow.
I mean, literally, I was like,
It's a
Randy,
game.
pick a game, and that's what we ended up playing. So moving on to rules.
So the rule book is, it's 8 pages long. It's a pretty simple game once you get down to the basic mechanics of it. It goes through each of the different sections pretty well. It's kind of this game feels like it should be part of the Aaliyah series, but it's not. It's kind of an oddball because like Wyatt Earp, we played that the other day, which doesn't feel like it should be part of the Aaliyah series, but is. This one feels like it should be part,
Right.
but isn't.
So I own this game as well. This is one of my favorite games. You guys just learned it though, right?
No,
So-
I've played it many
okay.
times.
But I disagree. I think that it is a simple game, but it's got lots of layers
Yeah.
to it.
No,
So-
I don't disagree with
Okay,
that.
all right.
No, I'm just saying it's a simple game to learn.
Okay,
Yeah.
I almost thought
The rule book is not set up like a typical Aaliyah game book it would be, where it would have
Where it's got the sidebars
short
and stuff on it.
version on
Yeah.
the sides and color coded.
Right.
So it is you hunt for anything you
Right.
might want to find in it. So it's not as nice of a rule book as what you get with the Aaliyah. But
maybe
the
the second
gameplay-
edition version is better in that
Yeah.
regard. I just not seen the rule book there.
Yeah, but the gameplay of this feels a lot like the Aaliyah games of
I
the
agree.
Rio Grande series. So as far as the rule book, I'll go ahead and give it a 7. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just it would have been nice if it were sectioned like the other ones are.
My only complaint's the font's tiny, so it's a little hard to read in that regard.
After playing Agricola the other day, this is nothing.
that was my only
Oh.
complaint with the rule book is it's just tiny font.
Yeah. So let's talk about gameplay. This is where it's exciting, folks. Okay, throughout each round, there is a max of 8 cards on the tableau. Now, in this particular instance, you start with the first round, you start with the green, and then you play out 6 for the very first time. But
Well, it
moving
depends
forward,
on
you always
player count.
Yeah, it depends on
Okay.
player count.
Oh, well, I'm going to pretend it's 3 players because it's what we played, and that's the rules I know. If you're having it different than 3 players, I suggest
Reading the rule book,
reading the rule book, or at least, quick glance and figure out what that
or
is.
have someone in your group. that
So
listens.
you start out with the 6 green cards, and then everyone, starting with the first player, can choose. We all have starting money. Can choose to purchase those cards, and you can build them. The caveat, though, is if you have one of the same title, it costs 1 less, and if you have 2 of that same title, then it costs you 2 less. So basically, there's a discount built in for collection.
To a minimum of 1. You can't
right,
get a card
nothing
for
is ever
free.
0.
Yes, which is a mechanic that we've used recently in Hadara, which I really like that as well, except that one's colored based versus this is actually name based. So the actual card itself has to be the same. So that round goes, and then you get an income only on your green cards, okay? Then whatever cards are left over, you scoot them to the side, and then you fill with the blue. That's the next round.
When we talk about income, it can be money or victory points.
Correct. There are cards with special abilities, like this one, it costs 1 less for orange cards. So there are special abilities available. Like this one allows you to spend money for victory points. So there are a few additional things out there besides just income and victory points. So just kind of being aware of that. So then you keep doing that across all the rounds. So as each round you fill up to that number, everyone goes through the buying phase until everyone passes, and then you continue. So if at the end of the round there's any cards left over after we hit the fourth one, they can get moved down to that second row, which will now then have a discount of -1, and then you start it all over again. The end of game is triggered is when one of the piles reaches an empty, which I want to point out, like the orange is completely empty here in this game, but we had a lot of the last and a good portion of the blue and green left. But because of depending on the heavy buying power, like depending on what you run, those things may end up going quite a bit faster. So I thought that was an actually pretty interesting game mechanic for ending.
The green deck is mostly focused on income as far as money.
I was just about to say that each color deck has a different theme.
Yeah, so green is obviously income, blue is victory points, orange is more income with a little bit more victory points.
But it's also more about the set collection.
Yes.
In most cases, you want to collect the same card because it's cheaper that way. But
except for
red,
orange.
That's what I'm saying. The orange is about collecting different ones.
Yeah,
and
so
then your square or multi. So it could be, but the cool thing about the squares is that you can upgrade.
yeah.
Well, you have to in some cases.
Right.
If it's got a square, you have no choice but to upgrade a card.
Yeah, it'll have a requirement. So.
Yeah. So this game was a lot of fun.
Yeah. This is a great game.
I was like, we played this and I was like, can we play this again? Now that I know how to play, I would like to play this game. Which is not too surprising because I like Hadara, which has some, for me, there's some similarity to this, and it's something that I enjoy, but it is a little bit different in the fact the stocking of the cards is very different than Hadara, which I can appreciate. So what are your guys' thoughts about the game?
I've been playing this game for quite a few years. I've always felt it was one of the upper echelons of board games. As a matter of fact, I put it up there with like the Puerto Ricos and stuff. It's kind of unique and it's old enough that it kind of broke some ground and kind of introduced me to some concepts that I wasn't really used to at the time. So I really appreciate this game and what it did. So it's way up there as far as overall game value. I'd give it a 9.5.
Okay, what about you, Randy?
I'm probably more at a level like an 8 on this one. I think it's a good game, a solid, definitely a solid Euro game. It's just, I think with age, it's got not enough in it, not enough content to keep it at a high enough level for me. You know, it's not got as much content as Puerto Rico.
Right. I mean, if I played it every day, I could agree with that. But I only play it a couple times a year.
Yeah.
And so it really feels fresh that way. And plus, you could play it online on yukata.day. You can play it on there.
I don't play those things, so I can't tell you on that. But
you can.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
I've had an expansion for this game forever. It's still sealed. Never got to play it. So now that you like this game, hopefully we'll get to play it soon, where we actually play the expansion.
Right.
All right. So your score?
I said an 8.
Oh, then it's just me. I really like this game, and even my dad, because he's the one that played it with us, he was like, "I really like this game. I'd like to play it again." I'm gonna probably give this an 8.5. I mean, this was a really good game. It was very, very solid. I really enjoyed it. I do think, though, I say about the repetition, and I'm concerned because that's what you were kind of saying is their repetition. But if they had a good app of this, I have a feeling me and you would play this quite a bit. And I would be okay with it. I think I would have enough fun.
No, I didn't say that it was repetition. I said that content. There wasn't enough content in it. A lot of these older Aaliyah-style games from the Rio Grande, they feel like they're a little dated now.
Well, this feels dated because of the art.
But some of them had more content style than this. And again, this is not an Aaliyah series game, so it's kind of an unfair comparison, but it feels like one of them.
Obviously not, though, because you feel like it's missing content.
Well, there's ones of that are missing content. I mean, Las Vegas is a bit one of the series, and that one definitely feels like it's light.
It's a very simple game.
So it's not like they're all heavier, but most of them have more content to them. Like Puerto Rico, Princess of Florence,
Castles of Burgundy.
Castles of Burgundy. There's a whole, all of them feel more content driven.
I don't know. This has a lot to it.
But even those are nowadays kind of aging as far as, when you compare them to more modern games, they don't feel nearly as involved.
I think the death is the risk of, do I buy a card now or do I try and let it go later where it can be a little bit cheaper? So there is strategy built into this game that I think does last and holds up well in time.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think if we play it again and we become more, more in tune with it, we wouldn't let you run away with it, babe.
Yeah, well, if we play it again, I'm not sitting on your left. I know that because that was
Yeah,
annoying.
that's the way it is. That's the way it should be. Because heaven knows I am not sitting on your left. Because that's not going to happen. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast with this game. Hopefully, you would like to hang out with us again soon. Bye.
Buy this game if you don't have it. Bye.
Yeah, bye.